Well, hello, Saints. How you doing? How's this for a concise, lightweight backpacker's frame, huh? What do you say, no? No, it's not. It's a military duffel bag and a 4-man tent. My brother and I are up here on, where are we? Laurel Ridge, and we're going to be going in camping, the two of us and the 2 dogs overnight. And so here we go. All right, folks. Well, we got the tent set up there. It's a 4-man. You can see the company is Eureka. I'm not sure they're in business anymore, but I'd say it's a good tent. Not a great tent, but a good one. One thing, if you're ever buying a tent, they call this a 4-man. Yeah, as long as your 4th man is 3 feet tall. You hear what I'm saying? It's a 3-man, really. So we got 2 dogs and my brother. And there's my brother, and there's his dog, Sam. My dog, get my hand in the way there. Wow, you have to see my dog later. I was gonna do the video now, but I'm gonna wait till tomorrow morning. Sun's dropping down, but you can see it's clear sky. We're hopefully gonna get a lot of stars tonight. There's just a sliver of a moon out. So let me see if I can get my dog here. Hey, you bum. Come here, you bum. There she is. Good old Belvedere. All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning. My hair's liable to be a mess, but so be it. Well, good morning, Saints. At least this morning for me. We just got out of the tent and had a good night. I mean, it got down into the upper 30s, but we were okay. Had good sleeping bags and everything, and relatively clear sky at night. Saw a bunch of stars. So it was a great camp. We had the 2 dogs with us and everything. Today, we're going to be talking about living as a Christian in a secular workplace. Living as a Christian in a secular workplace. I'm going to read Mark chapter 1, verses 16 through 20. Jesus, here, I'll just read it. Passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Must have been early in the morning because they were still fishing. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." I want to read that again. "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." And immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on a little further, he saw James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, who were in their boats mending the nets. So there was a little bit of time. Peter was still fishing. They're already at shore, so a little time in between. And immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants and followed him. Our key phrase here, follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men. Different ways I could look at this. I could look at those who have a calling as full-time into the gospel. We're going to set that aside for another day. I could also look at the most successful evangelists in the world, and they are parents and Sunday school teachers. We're going to set that aside for another day. We are going to look at now living your witness, living your life in a secular workplace. Does this calling, follow me and I will make you become fishers of men, apply to you as you work on the job? Absolutely it does. I spent most of my life as a pastor of a church. Be honest with you, when I was pastoring, the bulk of my time went to the flock, went to Christian people, and, some here and there of non-Christian people. Later on in life, I became an RN, and all of a sudden, I am surrounded by all kinds of different people. Every different lifestyle you can imagine. Every different belief you can imagine. People born all over the world. Our hospital was the most eclectic place in our town. And I saw these people, good people, working, fighting for the lives of their parents, of their patients. And yet a lot of them didn't know Jesus. Didn't know anything about the Bible. Didn't see any reason to learn anything about the Bible. And here I am with the hope of eternal life in me. And I figure I've got to do something. If I love people, I've got to do something. So what do? How do I make my faith shine so that they can see it? Do I go into work and do I preach every day? Do I look at them and say, boy, you need to know Jesus. There's a heaven and a hell. Is that what I do? Do I preach every day? No, you can't do that. If you do that, you'll become a pain in the neck. And it'll be counterproductive. And you're liable to, you'll at least be talked to by your superior and maybe fired. But it's counterproductive. People don't want, if they wanted preaching, they'd go to church. So what did I do? Well, here was my tactic. In Mark chapter 12, there was a person who came to Jesus and asked him, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, Hear, O Israel, the Lord, quoting from Deuteronomy, the Lord our God is one, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then he said this in verse 31. He said, the second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's no other commandment greater than these. And every time I came to work, that was my goal. I wanted to love my coworkers. I wanted to love the MDs. I wanted to love the unit clerks. I wanted to love my patients. I wanted to look past how they were living or what they believed and everything. I wanted to see the heart. I wanted to see the patient, the person. I got my mind fixated on patients. And that was my goal. And I found that by doing that, I could see that there was good in these people. Conscientious workers, doing their job. Again, fighting for the lives of their patients. I didn't go to work thinking, well, who am I going to preach to today? I said, who am I? I'm going to love my neighbor. I want to act as a Christian. How do you do that? Well, Galatians 5, 22 and 23, the fruit of the Spirit. And it's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Patience, boy, I'll tell you what. The American workplace is often a high-stress position. It was in nursing. I was a night shifter. My brother, who you're going to see in a minute here, he was a software developer for a major corporation. I'll tell you what, stressful position. I talked to another one of my friends, a professional person. He said going to work is like pouring chlorine in my eyes. Stress, stress, stress. And and at times I was stressed. And some people under stress, they sort of collapse, get depressed. Other people get a little angry. I was the second. And there were times I felt like, man, I am blowing this as a witness, as a Christian. I'm supposed to be patient. I'm supposed to be peaceful, joyous. And I'm anything but. And I'd have to go and repent. And I'd have to pray. Sometimes I'd be walking down the hall, praying in the Spirit to myself, Lord, I need strength. Because I want to love my neighbor as myself. And when you do that, when you love your neighbor as yourself, and it's more than tolerating people. It's more than, biting your lip and, I really don't like these people at all, but I gotta love them. No, you genuinely love them. You genuinely see them as creations of God. They're not born again yet, but who do you think created them? When you do that, it comes through. People notice it. And they will start asking you questions about your faith. I was asked everything. I was asked about heaven and hell. I was asked about the divinity of Christ. I was asked about gay marriage. I was asked about finances. Financial advice. I was called to other units to pray for patients.
Sometimes they would be there at the point of death and nobody was there, no family. So they'd call me over and I would pray for them. I don't know how many of my own patients I prayed for. Again, not going in there thinking, oh, I got to preach to them. I got to do it. No, I got to love them. Legitimately, genuinely, care for them. And I'll tell you what, the world has a lack of care right now. And when you start caring for them, they'll see that. And they will ask you questions. When they ask you questions, how do you answer? One of my favorite verses, 1 Peter 3:15. Boy, Peter, he knew what he was talking about. He said, but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give reason for the hope is in you, the hope that you have, but do it with gentleness and respect. Gentleness and respect. When people would ask me questions about my faith, I would have this verse in my mind. I've got to answer gently, not confrontationally, not getting in their face and everything, and with respect. You might disagree profoundly with the way they live or their belief system, but you respect the individual. If you do that on the job, you go in every day, Lord, I'm going to love my neighbor as myself. Now, of course, there were a couple of co-workers I had that weren't my cup of tea. Somebody I wouldn't necessarily hang out with, but even them, I respected them and loved them as people. If you'll go into your job saying, I got to love my neighbor, I've got to try to have the fruit of the Spirit, and when it gets stressful, I got to pray, so I try not to lose it. And then when I am asked, I'm going to answer the reason for the hope that is in me, and I'm going to do it with gentleness and respect. Now I'm going to ask my brother to come on camera here and tell of a situation that happened with him at his job. And this is what can happen when you have it in your mind that Jesus is making you a fisher of men. So Steve's going to come on the camera now.
Hi, I had a friend of mine at work. He was from India, and as you know, a lot of people from India have a lot of different gods. They have multiple gods, and one day we were walking during lunchtime in the city of Pittsburgh. We both worked down there, and he worked for me, and I told him once that the most significant thing that ever happened to me was Jesus Christ revealing himself to me. And it changed my life, which at the time, I was about 18 years old, was pretty negative, and it really... Anyway, I told him that it was the most significant thing that had ever happened to me. And it shocked him. He literally, we were walking on the sidewalk, he literally stopped in his tracks. And I was like a little taken back, like, wow. And he says, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I'm dead serious. It's no joke. And I'm telling you all today, Jesus Christ in your life will be the most significant thing that will ever happen to you.
All right, saints, that's what can happen to you at your workplace when you keep it in mind that you want to live as a Christian in a secular workplace. Well, that does it for this episode of the Great Outdoor Bible Adventure. It's time for me to strike the tent and get back home. If you like this episode, like and subscribe and maybe share with a friend. God bless you. Have a great week, and we'll post up next week.